What's going on, guys? This is Chandler, and I am so excited to be back. It's almost been a year since I filmed a YouTube video, and so I'm going to be very rusty and very nervous as I go through this, but I wanted to get back into things, and I wanted to start by just sharing with you everything that's happened in my life over the last year. Now, for those of you that follow the channel, you know that my wife, Maddie, was diagnosed with cancer almost 3 years ago. At the time, she was extremely healthy, and she had just run her first triathlon. She went in for a standard checkup, and we found out that she had late stage 3 colon cancer. She immediately was rushed into surgery, followed by chemotherapy for 6 months. After she finished the 6 months of chemo, we really thought that she was finished. We were building our dream home, and everything felt like it was good again. We had a good 6-month window where she was healthy, and we thought everything was going well. And then we went in for some blood work, and we saw that the cancer had come back. She then got more scans done and was diagnosed with peritoneal carcinomatosis. She was given 6 months to a year to live. About 6 months after Maddie's terminal diagnosis, she passed away. And during that 6 months, everything she did was exceptional. And honestly, everything before that diagnosis that she did was exceptional, but she found a way to stay so hopeful and positive and confident and present through all of the miserable things that come with a terminal cancer diagnosis. She showed up for me, and she showed up for the kids, and she was someone that anytime someone would come and ask her how she was doing with this terminal diagnosis, she would respond that she was doing great. And that was important to her because she wanted to stay present. She wanted to show up, and there was this huge part of her that really believed somehow she was going to beat this. I'll never be able to properly express how much I love her and how incredible of an example she was in the last couple months of her life and throughout the entirety of her life. In the last couple days, I had lots of great conversations with Maddie, and in one of them, I just lost it and said, Mads, how do I do this without you? How do I make life make any sense? And she just looked at me and said, Chan, live it for the kids. And before you know it, you'll be living it for you again. I really have tried to do my best to live in honor of her and to honor her by showing up in the right way. It was very important to Maddie that I carried forward that same kind of hope and gratitude in my life and in our kids' life. But after she passed, it was a lot more difficult than I ever could have expected. She was my whole world, and she made everything make sense. And trying to do life without her seemed impossible. I fell down in a really big way, and if I'm honest, I'm not sure that I thought I was ever going to be able to get back up. I think one of the biggest things I didn't understand is when you lose the love of your life, you think about it all day, every day, and it really does seem impossible to function. Grief is also wild because everyone tells you there's no right way to grieve, when in reality, you've got 2 options. You have the option of falling into absolute misery, just this horrible black abyss that's filled with sadness and misery and addiction and every other thing that you can fall into. And no one is going to think poorly of you if you go that route, because you're justified in just falling apart, in your life falling apart because you've lost your person. The other option is trying to find a way to put your life back together, to carry this massive weight of loss and use it to give you perspective to try and make something of the life that you've got left. I'd love to say that right away I lived the life I know Maddie would have wanted me to live, but I didn't. For months, I was all across the board, and nothing really made sense. On top of the pain and the suffering and the loss, you're also dealing with a lot of guilt. I struggled because I felt like if I didn't show up and I let my life fall apart, that I was doing Maddie a disservice. I also felt like if I was doing the right things, that I wasn't mourning her properly, because there's no way I should be doing anything right. I should be miserable because she's not here. During this window, things got really dark for me. And if I'm honest, I'm not sure I knew if I was going to get out of it or not. And during that window, there were so many people that showed up so well. I just want to take this time to thank all of the people in my community that showed up with food, with letters, with flowers, for me, for my kids. You're incredible, and what you did means more than you know. I want to thank my parents for everything they did, the hard conversations. They were dealing with the loss of Maddie, and they showed up for me and my kids in every way that we could have possibly needed them. I want to thank my siblings for all that they did and being there, and I want to thank Maddie's parents and Maddie's siblings. It was such a hard time for all of us, and the way that so many of them showed up was so perfect for what me and my kids needed. I also want to thank my friends. I have so many friends that were so good. I especially want to thank Garrett and Cortland and my brother Peyton for the countless phone calls and the drop-bys, the deliveries, the showing up for me, showing up for my kids, and so many times where you talked me off a cliff. And I want to thank all of the people that helped me remember what Maddie stood for and the life they know she would have wanted me to live, and helping to remind me of that. I think there are so many people that just did little things that need to know that the way that you showed up for me and my kids is what Maddie would have wanted you to do. And it really felt like you were working, or she was working through you when you showed up for us. And so thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the people that helped me to choose hope and to live presently, because that's what Maddie would have wanted you to do. I also want to thank all of you that follow the channel. While I was going through the grief process, I just wanted to share Maddie's story. And so I put together a memorial video that now has been viewed more than 5 million times and has thousands of comments. And for me, I just wanted to share her story and all that she went through and how incredible of a human she is and was. But I had no idea the amount of people and the kind comments and the impact that they would have on me and my family. It means so much that you've taken the time to celebrate Maddie with us. And I know it might seem silly with those of you that I don't know, going and watching and commenting on a video, but there's so many of those comments that have lifted us up and made a big impact. And so I just want to say thank you. I've come to find that a lot of people don't know what to say. And I think the reason I love all the comments is the one thing I want people to say is just, I'm sorry. And then tell me how incredible of a person Maddie was and share stories of her. And all of the people that have done that and all of the kind comments, they really mean so much, because there's nothing I love talking about more than Maddie. It's also been inspiring to see all of the comments thanking her or applauding her for her gratitude and her optimism. And it's been something that's pushed me to lean into living the life I know she would have wanted me to live, even though she's not here. Most importantly, I want to thank my kids, Red and Andy. You have no idea how much you've lifted me up and given me the will to do something with my life without Maddie here, because you are so incredible and you deserve to have your mom here, and she deserves to be here to see you grow up. And though you can't have that, you've made me want to be the best dad and version of myself that I can. And I'm so grateful that you're here, and I love you so much. Now, I wish I could say that right after Maddie passed, I showed up in the right way every day, all the time. And I really just didn't. I mean, I had some really bad months where I was in a really bad place, and I did the best I could to show up for my kids. And there are lots of things I'm proud of and other areas where I know I fell short, but I was in a really, really bad place. After a couple months had gone by and the impact that all of these people that I've thanked have had on me, I made the decision that I needed to find a way out of the hole that I was in. I started reading the books that, old Chandler would have told me to read. I started working out consistently. I filled the days with as many fun activities as I could with the kids. And after talking to all the people that were supporting me and helping me, I made the decision to start meeting with other widows and widowers. I had so many incredible experiences and learned so many things and had so many great conversations on how to be a good single dad. and how to carry the weight of grief and of losing Maddie and still try and string together a life that she would be happy with. After making some of these changes in my life and starting to meet with other widows and widowers, I ended up meeting with a widow named Jessica Dennert. Over 4 years ago, Jessica was living with her husband Tyson in Seattle attending dental school. At the time, they had 2 children, Hanley and Will, and Jessica was pregnant with their third. They made the decision as a family to go home to Idaho for Thanksgiving, and they had a tradition with their family that the men during that Thanksgiving break would go for a day to go hunting. And so all the men went on a plane over to go hunt, and on their way back there was a horrible accident and the plane went down. And that day Jessica lost her husband Tyson, her dad, 2 of her brothers, her grandpa, her brother-in-law, her uncle, and cousins. She was left without half of her family with 2 kids and 1 on the way to try and figure out what to do. She later had her third, Blakely, and she did her best to make the most of life with her 3 kids. I'll never be able to understand the depth of her loss and grief. And as I met with her, I was extremely inspired by her hope and gratitude and optimism as she did everything she could to show up in the right way for her kids. When I first talked to her, it also resonated with me because even though it had been 4 years since the accident, she talked about how the pain of loss didn't lessen at all, and things really didn't get better. She just got better at carrying the weight of grief and showing up in the right way while carrying that. Everyone that talked to me was trying to say the right thing, but people that hadn't experienced losing the love of their life, it was hard for them to understand, and sometimes the things they said were even hurtful. But Jessica helped me understand that the pain of loss doesn't get better. It's always there, but you get better at carrying it, and you can carry it well. The first conversation with her was just heavy and sad and hard, and it was what I wanted to hear, just that it doesn't get better, but it also was inspiring to see how she had taken this incredible loss and made so much out of the life that she had moving forward. The more we talked, the more we connected on so many things. We connected on just the pain of loss and how miserable we were, how hard it was to live without the love of your life, how hard it was to figure out how to parent properly, how hard it was to deal with so many of the things that people would say to you or the way that people would interact with you. The more that we talked about how neither of us felt like we could ever be comfortable dating or remarrying again because anything would feel like settling compared to what I had with Maddie and what she had with Tyson. We talked about how we wouldn't want to put our kids through anything like that because we wanted them to always be the priority, and we couldn't comprehend ever finding someone that would love our kids the way that they deserved to be loved after all that they'd been through and the incredible parent that they'd lost and that they once had. The more we talked about our parenting strategies, how we would handle things with the kids as a single parent, and the things that were important to me and Maddie when we were parenting and to her and Tyson when they were parenting. We talked about the funny stories of things we were running into with our kids, and pretty soon we got comfortable just sharing all of the fun stories and experiences, the highs and lows of the life that she had with Tyson and the life that I had with Maddie. We talked about the incredible people that they were and how we both felt like they were the better half, and it didn't make sense that we were here with the kids. We were able to share so many of the fun experiences and hardships of life, and the more that we talked, the more we found in common with every aspect of our life. After multiple phone calls, we started doing play dates with the kids, and there was an immediate connection and friendship and understanding with the kids. It's a wild experience to have 5 kids between the age of 3 and 7, and all of them very comfortable about talking about death and the people that they've lost and loved, and working through all that comes with that, with other people asking them questions about their parents and about why they're not here. And we all just kind of very quickly fell in love with each other. The kids became best friends, and me and Jess became best friends. And the more time we spent together, the more I think we fought the idea of it ever getting to a place of dating, because we just had something so special. The kids, Jessica's kids, really helped Ren and Andy to process things and to be able to talk about it and to not feel like they were the only ones in this situation. And obviously me and Jessica were having all of those same feelings. As time went on, it became harder and harder to not also feel like there were other feelings there as well. And I think both me and Jessica fought it because we didn't want to go down that route unless we knew 100% that it was the right thing for us and the right thing for the kids. It finally got to the point where neither one of us could deny that that was there as well. And so we started dating. And from that point forward, we spent every day together with us and those 5 kids. The kids were always begging to get together as soon as possible, and both me and Jessica felt the same way. Everything went so well and fell into place so perfectly that it was hard to not feel like it was almost orchestrated. To go from a place of feeling like there was no possibility of any good in our lives to having such a beautiful thing while also dealing with such a hard, heavy thing that will never make sense really was just an extraordinary experience. I think one of the harder things about the situation is people didn't know how to talk to us, because usually people just would talk to us about Maddie and Tyson and how we were doing and how we were holding up. And I think now people felt like they either had to talk about, hey, like, you guys are together, this is awesome, or are you doing okay? I know there's so much heavy too. And it's funny because for us, we just want to talk about both. We wanted to talk about what a blessing it was to have the 7 of us together, while also we just wanted to talk more about Maddie and Tyson. We wanted everyone to know that, of like, hey, like, they both can be true and they both can exist together. And I think we had so many people that are understanding and have been so supportive, but that's what also has made our relationship so special, is we both get it. And almost on a daily basis, we can go from experiencing extreme joy with each other and with the kids, while also having our moments where we just cry and talk about how much we miss Maddie and Tyson and how incredible they are. I think both of us always wanted to make sure that Maddie and Tyson stay a present part of the kids' life, because the kids deserve that, and Maddie and Tyson deserve to be remembered and deserve to be talked about. I think in our lives there are so many things that just don't make sense and that we'll never be able to explain to anyone, but we get it. And I think that for all the things that don't make sense, the 7 of us really do make sense. And that has been such a special, cool blessing in our lives. After things switched over to where we started dating, we just filled our days with fun experiences with the kids and trying to make a productive life. I think it was at this point where things really got crazy, because everything seemed to align. Our parenting styles, our values, our beliefs, our previous experience, our love for all 5 of the kids. And I think the crazy part is when it pivoted to not just loving being together and our friendship, but we really fell in love with each other. I remember hitting this point where I just couldn't imagine doing life without Jessica. And we had so many cool experiences where we had the opportunity to go and do fun things without the kids. And it's like, man, we have so much fun with these 5 kids and life is so good. But wow, are things special just together, like absolutely extraordinary. You know, it's one thing to just find a companion for life, but to have all the boxes checked and feel madly in love with this person after everything that we've been through just didn't seem like it would ever be possible. And for us, it was. I think the other thing that was so crazy about the timing of this is, things really pivoted for both me and Jessica, where we knew we couldn't do life without each other. And at the same time, all 5 of the kids started asking, hey, like, where's this going? Are you guys going to get married? Like, we want you to get married. We want to be a family. We want to be together. To have that timing align, I think there's so many scary or hard things about getting remarried after having a great marriage and life and family that we both had. But to also, consider getting remarried, you've got to worry about your families, your kids, how all of those dynamics work. And it just seemed like everything fell into place. We had such incredible support from all around us, but especially the kids, and to have it align where we all just felt so good about things really made a decision that I thought would be hard just so easy and light. We hit a point where, of course, no doubt, we need to get married, and this is the right thing, and we know it's the right thing for us. We know it's the right thing for the kids, and it's just a miracle. So at that point, we made the decision, and we decided to get married out in Hawaii. We invited our closest friends and family. We spent 10 absolutely phenomenal days in Hawaii on the beach, in the pools, getting to know our families even better, and spending so much time with those 5 beautiful kids. We then had an awesome ceremony that my dad did, and so many cool experiences with both of our families, and so much fun with us and the kids. And it just has really felt like every single piece has been orchestrated and fallen perfectly into place. As we've watched certain people a little further from our circumstance or our situation come and talk to us after being married, it's been so interesting because I think everyone is so happy for us and they see that it works, but there are lots of people that are like, hey, like, this is a great consolation prize for both of you. And I think that for us has been interesting because it doesn't feel like a consolation prize at all. We just truly feel we've been so blessed, and like things truly have been orchestrated. And the fact that everything feels the way that it does just is a miracle. Raising 5 kids is a lot, but it has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I still miss Maddie every day, and I've also had to take on the grief of so many of Jessica's loved ones that she misses every day as well, and grieve them because they should be here too. And for as hard and difficult as all of this loss and grief has been, I'm so extremely grateful for Jessica and those 5 kids and the life that we now have and are striving to make together. There's so many things that don't make sense, but now we have so many things that do, and we're really trying to lean into all of those. Through this experience, as you can imagine, there have been so many people that are so extremely supportive, close to us, and even further from us that we don't even know. Unfortunately, there have also been some people close and far that haven't been as kind or supportive and have said some hurtful things and been judgmental. And I think it's also taught me and Jessica that everyone goes through grief differently. Everyone's dealing with their own hard things and are trying to process or handle them in the way that they think is best. And so as difficult as that aspect of it has been, and we know that there will be more of that, it has been really eye-opening for me personally to recognize that I never want to be someone that's judgmental of someone else and how they're handling just life in general, but especially their hardship. I've learned that there's no place for judgment or tearing others down because life's hard enough without it. And that's also been a great experience for me because I think historically in my life, I've been a very judgmental person in lots of factors. And I've been maybe unkind or made decisions in the wrong way. And so one of the things that Jessica has said with all of this, she said that I would wish the experience on no one, but the perspective on everyone. And with the heaviness, with these 5 beautiful children, with all of the aspects of our life, it really has been so good to bring us to where we need to be, to keep us focused on what really matters, on staying present, on being kind, on loving those around you, and on not dwelling on the things that aren't important. And I'm really hoping that moving forward with the direction of the channel, with the direction of my businesses, my life, my friends, my family, that I can take that perspective, and that the life that Maddie and Tyson and so many others have lived and the example that they've lived, I can take that perspective and use it properly. Finally, I just want you to know that as heavy and hard as maybe this video seems, we're doing really, really good. And I'm so grateful for all of the people that have had an impact along the way to help get us here.
I was crowned a king, felt the wind underneath my wings. I've been high and I've been low, played the fool and the star of the show. Gone along for a wild ride, and I can say, looking in your eyes, that it all would have been a waste, but I found you on the way. I found cynicism, I found criticism. I've been the zero to hero, and I have been the villain. I lost more than a heart could take, but I found you on the way. I found you, I found you, I found you, I found you. It all would have been a waste, but I found you on the way. I was given the keys to the city, they were mine to keep. Over time, every lock will change, but you love me all the same. I found pessimism, I found skepticism. I've been the corner performer and sung in front of millions. I lost more than a heart can take, but I found you on the way. If the one thing that I can say